Did you have any idea that there were two Israeli hostages already in Hamas custody long before the 240 were captured on October 7th and brought into Gaza? Like, nobody knows that, and nobody's been talking about that. But two young men, both of them with special needs, have been hostages in Gaza for almost 10 years. In September 2014, Avera Mengistu, who is an Ethiopian Israeli Jew, got into Gaza. It seems he climbed the fence and got in and was abducted immediately and kept there and not released. Then in 2015, Hisham al-Sayed, who is a Bedouin Israeli Muslim, also somehow wandered into Gaza and has been held ever since. And in addition to that, two bodies of Israeli soldiers who were killed in 2014, and they haven't released them for all this time. People are outraged that Hamas would come in and take Israeli, not just Israelis, but civilians, including a baby, a 9-month-old baby, little children, 3-year-old twins, an 8-year-old, and also elderly people in their 80s. A man in his 80s is in Gaza. There's a woman who has cancer and is in Gaza right now. So ever since these two young men were hostages in Gaza, we haven't really heard much about it. It hardly makes the news. And in fact, Hamas only twice released pictures of them, on one of each, on two separate occasions. And the one with Hisham al-Sayed, that he had an oxygen mask. So there's very little proof of life. There's barely any negotiation, at least that anybody knows of. And there's not a lot of public outcry, just the families that occasionally are heard in the media, but not much, I have to say. And since we're talking about Hamas and hostages, let's not forget Gilad Shalit, the Israeli soldier who was captured in 2006 and not released until 2011. But he was released, but it was 5 years later, and it was in exchange for more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. I don't know if they have enough Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails right now to release Avera Mengistu and Hisham al-Sayed and the bodies of the two soldiers, plus 240 current hostages that were just taken on October 7th. That would be a lot of prisoners to release in exchange if that what is the end game. So as Israel works for the release of these new 240 hostages, you can bet that the families of the two living hostages and the families of the soldiers whose bodies are still there in Gaza are hoping that their family members will also be part of any effort to release the hostages.